I'm going to do a quick video on how to put leather on a pullover chair seat. Before I start putting this leather on, I'm going to catch you up on how I padded this seat. I started with a blocked out piece of 50-pound superfoam. I'm allowing my marker to ride about 1/4 to 1/2 inch outside the edge roll. I like to make my cut just on the outside of the line. I'm now going to make a 45-degree wedge cut around the sides and the front. I'm now adding 1/2 inch poly around the sides and the front. And lastly, a layer of 1 ounce bonded Dacron. Alright, I'm going to start first. I'll come back here and I'll kind of stay tack. Now this particular back has got a, like that much wood. That thing there, I've got some room to stay tack right in here without ruining the wood. So I'm going to put a few in here and then I'll show you from what I do from there. I'm going to take this and I'm going to stretch it tight and I'm going to stay tack it in about 3 places here. And then I'm going to come over here and kind of stay tack it in a couple of places here on the side and the other side as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of getting the fabric started, making sure it's even on where I need it this way, even where I need it that way to work with it. And then, and I've got it kind of snug, and then I'm going to start in the front, start doing the pulling tight. Now with leather, leather's not like a fabric 100%. So when I pull here, and start doing it tight here, I may come over here and do it tight here instead of working it like this on these fabrics. Most of the time, I'll start in the center and then I'll work, like this. But with leather, leather stretches both ways. So what I'll do is I'll start it here and then I'll do a little bit here and a little bit here and then work the centers of those. And, basically the same process back here. I've now done this front, started here and then I put a few staples, then I come over here, put a few, then I kind of go to the center again here and, do the same over here and then do the center here again. And I've got it to about here. I don't want to go all the way over into here yet on either side. I'm just kind of doing it, from here to here. And now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to start it the same process here and do a little bit over here, do a little bit over here, and then finish it out in between and not go all the way to the corner here and not go all the way to the corner there. Okay, now you can see I've kind of stapled across here. You know, I started here, went over here a little bit, and then went here, went over here, and then come in here. Just because leather, like I said, when you stretch it, it kind of takes wrinkles out both directions. So it's not like you have to work it like this, where a fabric will bunch up pretty easily. When you pull on this, it'll kind of pull it wrinkles out both directions. So that's how we do it. And then you want a good snug front to back. It is just common practice that anytime you start a job pulling fabric on a tight seat of any kind, or a back or anything, you always want to kind of stay tack it, and then you want to start pulling either from the front or the back, start snugging it. I usually start in the front, and I'll start tightening up from the front, then I'll go tighten up in the back, because that's where you want the most pressure put on your seat, is front to back. Once you start getting to the sides, you don't want to start stretching hard on them. You want to snug down, you know, snug them down. The point in that is not to start, when you've got stripes, you don't want to get that, you know what I mean, kind of little wavy little stuff. So that means tightness front to back, snug side to side. All right, we're now ready to do these front corners. What I've done is I've pulled my front and my back tight. I've pulled my sides on both sides snug. Okay, what that leaves me is, you know, this to work with, and I've got to figure out how to get all of this to fit nicely in here on this, and then around, you know, and around on a corner. And I'll show you how to do that. Now, to just tell you up front, before I put it on camera, what I'm going to do is you can see this, you know, these creases here. You don't want to pull where you have this crease weird over here and this big over here, or vice versa. You want to get these things equaled out like so, where you can see where it looks like you've got the same amount of fabric, where you like pulled in the center of them. All right, I've kind of got me a start. I'm right in the, you know, on the center here, kind of on the center of the leg. And from here, what we want to do is, now, you know, we've kind of got, you know, we've got these pleats pretty equal over here. What we want to do is figure out, you know, we want to try to get our fold, start kind of working its way over here, where we can kind of get our fabric, you know, folded close to the center there on this one. And the same thing will happen over here on this one, you know, same one like that over here, and get it where it's all snugged out and all that here. And then we can finally work in these sides over here. But I'm going to show you a trick, because we're working with leather, and you're going to have a lot of bulk here that you don't want to have when you get finished up ready to put nails back on here. So I'm going to show you how I go through this process. Okay, what you saw me do is try to work out as much of that underneath layer as possible on this side of the fold and the underside under here. And we've got a lot of that out of there now. Now we can start working on, you know, pulling these to where they need to be. Well, getting these sides, front and sides done. Now kind of the same as what we did over here, you know, where you start in the center and kind of pull. We're kind of going to do that here too, because normally when you're doing fabric, you want to start working everything like this, but because leather pulls differently, you can pull almost down straight instead of working over here. You can pull straight down like this and try to get a start right here near the center, you know, where all this is going, and then it'll be easy to work this one out and then work this one out, trying to pull the centers of this and the centers of that. So that's the thing you need to know. One of the things you have to know about leather is that, and vinyls, and with vinyls you can heat the fabric and make it shrink and do a better, you know, even more stretching than leather does. But just kind of think of the middle area here as the starting point, and then work, you know, pull the center here, pull the center there, and you'll be able to get all the wrinkles out of this. Okay, what I'm going to do next now is I'm going to trim back right about an inch all the way from this edge down to here and then across over here. And same thing with this one. Now when I do that, you can see that this this fabric is not on the straight here, but once I, you know, get my inch cut here and up around here like that, then I'm going to straighten these pieces off, these two, so that they'll meet when I fold and tuck and staple this area here, and I'll show you that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to roll them under, and, you know, like this. They're going to work as a gimp for the nails. Okay, one thing before I start rolling this is I need to take a, you know, cut this way and cut this way from this point, so that we can roll this piece separate and roll this piece separate. That, then we can start rolling these and stapling them. Okay, now you can see that I've taken this and I've got this kind of folded over to work as a gimp. On these chairs, the only place it's going to get nails is around this woodwork. We're not putting it over here, it's just around here. Okay, we're gonna now come to these back corners. You can see, I've got my post here area, got my fabric here, and all that. So what I want to do is kind of pull this fabric back so that I can kind of get me kind of a corner cut to come in here. So there'll be a little bit of fabric left, going this way, and then there'll be some going this way, or going this way for this pull and that pull. Right, I'm going to first by, taking care of this side. What you can see is I've got an awful lot of excess leather here I don't need. And now it's highly typical that a lot of times when I do these type of cuts, I'll go ahead and put a little V cut here and leave this long to do some good poking, and then cut this off about a 1/2 inch. I don't know that it matters if we go ahead and do a 1/2 inch all the way. You can do it either way, just whatever settles you. But to me, this area here has got a board to support, to staple to, but there's a big area here that doesn't, and I like to make sure I get full coverage down in there as much as possible. So I'm going to take a little bit of a V cut here and then come down, and that'll leave a lot of flap going down in there. Okay, one thing I'm going to show you also, and I should have done it before doing this fabric here, is that anytime you've got an area where you're putting fabric near wood, if this wood for some reason has any kind of bad spots on it like this, and you've got one here, these need to be really dealt with before you actually finish taking your fabric down and settling it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this staple out and I'm going to fold this back out of the way, and then we're going to deal with these first. So now you can see how much better this area looks through here before I put my fabric down. Okay, now we're at the point where, okay, you can see we've got, this wood coming out here, here's the bottom here, and, here's the area where the nails will go. So I'm gonna show you how to do this. Now at this point, you can just pull down and cut a straight line up to, right up onto your, right there, where these two meet. Go ahead and cut that. And I'll leave that, or we can go ahead and staple it. Doesn't matter whether you do it right away or not. Just as well to do it. Okay, now we've got a little bit of turn back here. You don't have to have a great deal of it, and it's not going to hurt because, you know, as long as you're not overextending into your dacron, it'll stay fairly level. And then I want to take, you know, and give myself about a little ½ inch or a little less there to turn to go to here. So now you can just turn your fabric, your leather here, and pull it nice and what looks good there. And put you a staple in both spots. Probably didn't have to have that one. Kind of have to have that one. So. And now you can see I've got a nice clean here. I don't have to do the turn under deal. This area, now some of you could have. I don't like to do it when we got short areas. So this is fine just to turn under because it's easy to do. Obviously, it is not easy to try to do this type of upholstery here all by doing the turn under. I've seen pieces that had that, and you won't see me doing it. It's too much work, too much time, too much frustration. This takes all that out. To me, it's just easier just to do the fold back, and it makes for a decent gimp. All right, finishing off this back is pretty simple. One thing we want to do is cut off some of this excess, you know, like we do, we just have a little bit of, and if you'll see that this looks like in here, it looks like, you know, when I try to pull on it, I can't pull it anywhere. So that means I need to snip a little more in here to allow this fabric to do more pulling and snugging into this area, which is what I'm going to do now. Keep in mind when you're doing across here and you've got holes like this one here on both sides for the screws, you want to make sure that you can cut it and make sure you get a good clean area around here so that you don't block that, because there's nothing you want to do worse than to try to run a screw through leather, especially a big fat one. Now you don't need me to show you the other side. I'm going to do the front and the back just like I did on the other side. When I get that done, I'll show you the finish.